Now, she was robbed of the jackpot in one of the most nail-biting reality TV finales ever in last year's The Traitors, before taking to the ice on one of the toughest shows on television. There you go. But for Mollie Pearce, the real achievement, she says, has been proving there is life after major bowel surgery, after a serious illness left her with a stoma bag. Continuing her mission to raise awareness, please welcome Mollie Pearce. Oh, well, listen, you're taking to the ice like a duck to water, if that's not mixing my metaphors.
Don't know about that.
I mean, did you skate before?
No, I mean, you know, only the general Christmas time and stuff like that. My mum actually used to skate a little bit, but
was that with the penguin at Christmas time?
Yeah, literally going around holding the barriers. So this is very different.
It looks, I mean, it's tough. Everyone says it's tough. But, I mean, in terms of the exercise regime, were you a gym bunny or...?
Not really. I mean, I used to do a lot of sports when I was younger, but obviously then I got quite poorly and stuff, so I was kind of in and out of it. And in recent years, I've tried to be, but I can't say I'm at the gym every day, if I'm honest. Whereas now, I'm obviously doing so much exercise all the time. So it's hopefully going to be good for summer this year.
Didn't you, like, injure yourself, though, having a little go just before you went into it?
Yeah, so I was training with a local coach and I just took a really bad fall, put my left hand down and fractured my wrist, which obviously isn't ideal for me.
Oh, you fractured your wrist?
Yeah, but we're back and we're better, so we missed 4 weeks, which was obviously a bit of a hit, but yeah.
Well,
it kind of gave us that fight to come back.
It doesn't seem to have held you back, that's for sure. I mean, you mentioned that you've been poorly as a child, and, you know, you've been very open about that and about the sort of long-lasting impacts of your health. Was it a big decision to be so open?
It was. I think, for me, obviously, I was born with a limb difference and I kind of took to social media about that first because I hadn't had my stoma bag yet and I had a really positive reaction. So then when I did have my surgery, it kind of made me think, hopefully we can get that same positive reaction. And I don't think I opened up straight away. It was a very gradual thing for me and I kind of started talking about it a little bit more.
And you were now 18?
18.
Yeah, that's a tough age, isn't it, really?
It is. And I think now I've had so much positive feedback and so many people, hopefully it's helping, that I just want to keep doing it and it's kind of pushing me to be more and more open with it.
Yeah, what would it have meant... Oh, so sorry, Mollie, go on.
I think you're saying 18 years old. I've got a 17-year-old daughter, so it really makes you just think about it. Like, what made you just, I suppose, just put it out there for people rather than hide it away?
I think because it's such a big part of my life and, like, I'd suffered with it for so long and obviously it's an invisible illness, so people didn't even know. And it had such an impact on me and to think there's so many other people out there going through that and kind of suffering alone. And I think it's such a taboo subject and actually it affects so many people. Why aren't we talking about it? And I felt like often I was explaining myself because I'd need to use the toilet somewhere and I just kind of wanted that to stop and I wanted it to be, you know, educate more people.
What about going into relationships with it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my mum's always said you can just pick out the bad ones, so you get rid of the red flags straight away, because if they don't love you, you know what your difference is, then they're not worth your time anyway. So
and that's why social media is so good, in that, you know, you and others like you can put out your story and other people going through the same thing can see it in a way that maybe that wouldn't have happened years ago.
No, I agree, and I think social media is such a good platform for support. You kind of feel like you find your people.
Because I'd never seen a stoma bag before I saw it on social media, so we just all had an idea of it. What would you say to somebody who may be just reeling, having had the information that you got when you were 18? What would you say to them now?
I would say take your time to adapt. I mean, obviously, it's big news and it can be really, really scary and really daunting. I would just say give yourself time to adapt. It's not going to change overnight, and obviously you have this big recovery process to go through. And just being really open with, like, your family and friends, having their support is so, so important. And
because hiding it would mean there's something to be ashamed and there's nothing, and then shame can just build and build.
Of course. And I think with these taboo subjects, obviously here we're talking about, you know, bowels and stuff that isn't normally talked about as openly. So it's kind of just changing that and making sure we are being open and everyone feels comfortable.
No, you said about social media. Amy Dowden has been, you know, wonderful dancer from Strictly, was very open about her battle with Crohn's disease, amongst other things. And Katie Piper, you know, one of our loose women here, also been incredibly open. And I think you have said that it was really good for you to have them there to sort of give you a feeling of support.
Yeah, they're two women I really looked up to always, and I think having them, you know, on our TVs actually really helped me to be more open about it growing up. And I had conversations with Amy before I was even on The Traitors, and she was just amazing. Seeing that on TV just made me feel like, well, I'm not embarrassed because she's not embarrassed, and I think that's what we want to continue doing. And just making sure it's accepted in society, I guess.
And you've... Yeah, absolutely. And you've teamed up with the charity, haven't you, Eric?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Eric's a charity for young people with bowel and bladder issues, and they have a helpline and they help families and things, and they have their young champions, and they actually recently did a survey at schools, and some of the stats that have come back are kind of devastating, you know. It came back that children aren't even drinking water at school because they don't want to use the toilet, and also some children aren't being allowed to use the toilet in lessons, which is terrible because the anxiety that would have given me at school and like feeling you have to explain yourself every time you want to leave a classroom in front of all your peers it is scary. And I met Eva, which is one of the young champions, and honestly, she's incredible. And I know that Eric's helped her family so much. So it's a really important charity, and I think, especially for young children, you know, being educated on it and stuff, and even in schools, educating teachers and stuff, and making sure that the facilities are accessible and that children like feel safe at school and feel comfortable. I think really
sometimes we
important.
don't realise what a transition it is, actually. I know a friend of mine had real trouble with her son moving from, like, nappies to the toilet, and then he only wanted to go when it wasn't break time because otherwise, you know, and lots of people feel that way, don't they? And of course, it's just not good for you. So.
I very quickly got to ask you before you go, how did it feel just had another season of The Traitors? How did it feel to watch it and it's not you being done over?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was so much more relaxed.
Yeah.
It was so nice to watch, and also I didn't know what happened. So, like, to watch it all unfold, obviously we all love that game. I really enjoyed it, and there was lots of different twists and turns. So
yeah, it was great.
It was brilliant.
That's weird because often people don't want to watch something they've been in, but for you, it's still juicy.
Oh, I still love it. I still love it.
Oh, well, listen, it's been lovely to have you here, Mollie. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And the very best of luck for Dancing on Ice. We will be rooting for you. I hope it goes wonderfully well. Mollie Pearce, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.